The Frank has returned with true facts, and he has true facts about the crazy defenses of butterflies and moths.
Do you recall the story that I told you about butterflies in my childhood?
No.
Okay, so I was in a tent, and it was
Okay.
just like set up in the backyard. We were just like playing, like
Who's we?
me and my brother.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and we're like getting like insects and stuff, but there happened to be a butterfly that got caught in the tent. Okay, it's a pretty
Okay.
big tent. And I'm like, oh my god, it's a butterfly. And I'm like running around trying to catch it, you know, just being a kid.
Yeah.
And my brother, being my older brother who liked to torture me, was like, don't let that thing touch you. And I was like, why? You know, like what information am I
Yeah.
missing? You know, and he was like, they have needles for tongues.
Oh.
And they suck your blood.
Mm.
And so, like, you know, they land on a flower and they do have that little thing.
Right.
And then I was like, oh my God. So even to this day, I still have, like, a hint of, like, fear response
Nikki.
when I have a butterfly near me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weak.
Yep.
Yeah. That's not really, I mean, that's for nectar.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
Be like body juice nectar.
I always thought that they were disgusting.
Oh, because they, like, land on poop and stuff?
Well, I mean, just they're bugs. Like, people were just like,
They're bugs.
this moth and this.
I've always been afraid of moths.
I mean, I've not been afraid of them. I just thought that they were, like, gross. And I've had to, like, pick up dead ones, and they've got all that powder shit on them and everything.
For their wings.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is this,
I
dude?
think
This
they're beautiful.
I have hit several of them driving and just had the biggest splatter on my windshield because of them and shit. And plus, I remember, I don't know if this was some kind of unusual event, but there was one year outside of my grandmother's house that there were just caterpillars like a motherfucker
those,
out
like,
everywhere.
yeah.
The fuzzy ones.
Were they the baby ones that, like, hung in that, like...
They hung in the
Yeah.
nets and in the tree, and it was like all of the trees. And you never see that anymore. Like, I don't see that anymore. But
Bagworms is what my grandmother called
They
them.
were everywhere,
Yeah,
all over the
same.
place. And I used to, like, climb in the trees and play
Yeah,
in the
me
woods.
too.
And I remember, like, that summer in particular, they were just, like, everywhere. And I was like, you mother...
Yeah.
I was so pissed.
I feel like I remember, and, you know, we still live close to where we grew up.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's just because I was outside a lot more, but I remember there being a lot more bugs.
A lot more
bugs and a lot more moths. Like, my dad always had, I don't know why, but, like, kept this one outside light on. And I just remember there being, like, a lot of, like, crazy different kind of beautiful moths. But I would, like, run. I would, like, charge and run in the house so, like, none of them would swat at me. Like, you know, like, hit you in the head or...
Right.
Not swat at me. I would swat at them.
Right.
Yeah.
There were also, like, those little yellow and black centipedes. Do you remember seeing those everywhere?
Yellow and
They were, like, really armored. They were
Oh,
centipedes.
yeah,
and they were
yeah.
really thick and...
I hated them. And they were always under, like I would flip up rocks or, like, cinder blocks and stuff. Like, because, you know, everybody was poor, so, like, you had cinder blocks for steps all the time. And so I would flip those up. And, oh, man, I hate centipedes. And the red ones. The big, bright red ones.
Yep. This is Sushi, by the way. If you're not familiar, we have a Sphinx cat, and he is a big fan of being a part of our videos. Yes, he is. And Shorty's in the bed, who is our pit bull, and Launch is probably sleeping also, our other cat. But Launch has decided that, or Sushi has decided that he just wants to be featured in every single video. But let's find out some crazy facts about the defenses of butterflies and moths.
Maybe I shouldn't.
I guarantee you they're going to be spitting or shitting all over stuff. How much you want to bet?
Sucking blood.
They don't suck blood. Watch me be wrong.
I feel like I remember that from a video that we watched that I learned that they actually sucked blood, and then I was like, oh my god.
If there's a wound, they probably will. But I doubt that they will,
that's what it was. It was like, there was like a bird or something that like pecked at like an animal, and then like the butterfly would like come in and like lick it. Ugh.
Yeah. I doubt that they would like cause the trauma though. Anyway, we're going to find out now.
The adult form of insects in the order Lepidoptera, the butterflies and the moths, are some of the most beautiful insects in the world. But come on, they're ridiculous. Just look at them. To get to this point, they've had to go through a baby phase as a sort of above-ground, slow-moving worm thing. And then they just hang out for a couple of weeks in a sleeping bag dingleberry. So they've had plenty of time to plan, and this is what they turn into. I mean, it's not like being in nature as a walk in the park. Pretty. Well, I guess it is. But my point is, it's dangerous out there for a butterfly. Jerry, that's a fish. Oh, dang. That bird's a dick. My point is, everything's trying to eat you, and that's the body you're working with? Come on, it's like being in the middle of a battlefield and someone's dancing around in a kimono. Just look at the way they fly. It's like a drunk person trying to find the bathroom in an IKEA. But don't fall for it. It's a ruse. Lepidopterans are the perfect killing machines. Jerry, that's not true. But I don't care if you saw it on Reddit. We talked about this. Do your job, Jerry. Anyway, butterflies and moths have two pairs of wings, one in front and one in back. These wings, in comparison to their bodies, are much larger and broader than those of other flying animals. Now, being lightweight with huge flappers means that they can take advantage of some of the fluid properties of air. First off, they don't flap that often, around 10 times a second. Compare that to the 200 times a second of a bee, for example.
True.
With each stroke, the edges of their wings create swirls of air that resembles smoke rings. On the downstroke, these vortex rings move down and away from the body, which results in vertical lift. But on the upstroke, the rings move away more horizontally, which causes the butterfly to move forward. So as the butterfly flies, it leaves behind a trail of these vortex rings as it alternates between lift and propulsion. But there's an additional trick going on here. These wings are razor sharp and people get killed to death? Really, Jerry? Just stop it. These wings are quite floppy. And if you're paying attention, you can see that on the upstroke, the wings bend in a way that causes the front edges to come together first. This seal creates a pocket of air that's squeezed out like a fart from under a duvet as the rest of the wings close on each other. And that air bubble is shot right out through the center of a vortex ring. Just like that fart was initially shot up. And this creates even more forward propulsion. Now, when they fly backwards, they change the angle of their body so the upstroke creates lift and the downstroke moves them horizontal. So when you see butterflies flip-flapping all over the place like the flying equivalent of a mosh pit, they're doing that on purpose. They can fly in a freaking straight line if they want to. No, they do that crazy flying shtick to with the birds that want to eat them. It's a defensive strategy. Float like a butterfly, it stings when I pee sort of thing. Here, you know how some butterflies are toxic to birds, right? Not my personal favorite form of defense, by the way. Yeah, that's right. That tastes like crap. Eat me, bird. Oh, shit, you are. Here, for you are. Blue jay puking right after eating a monarch. Anyway, the poisonous ones often have brightly colored wings, so at least the birds can learn to stay away after a couple bouts of food poisoning. These toxic ones also tend to fly slower and straighter. It's like another signal to the birds not to with them. Now, non-toxic, delicious butterflies will often mimic the colors and patterns of toxic butterflies to get some of that protection. And some of these mimicking butterflies are polymorphic, which means they can come in a number of different forms.
Interesting.
Sometimes each one of those forms mimics a different toxic butterfly, but it goes beyond that. Females of the species Papiliopolitus come in a few different forms. This one, the top one, its mating, mimics a toxic butterfly, while this form mimics a non-toxic male. Here's the kicker. When it mimics the toxic butterfly, it doesn't just mimic its colors, it mimics how it flies, flying slower and straighter. And that's the thing. These beautiful insects are bullshit artists. And it all comes back to those wings. I mean, I know they look like they're made from tissue paper that got wet over top a child's marker drawing, but that's no bullshit. They're incredibly sophisticated. Don't get me started. Well, I guess I already have. The whole thing kicks off in the sleeping bag thing. First, the basic shape of the wing is formed by these two membranes that sandwich together around veins. The veins both add some structure, but also carry the butterfly's version of blood. Butterblood. Once that's on its way, a series of overlapping scales begin to form on the outside surface. and each one of those scales is anchored into its own little socket. As these scales form, you can see colors begin to emerge, transforming them into the scary clowns of the insect world. Jerry, you're afraid of butterflies. They're not dangerous. Well, clowns are. I mean, butterflies aren't. You can see that it's not just one pattern that forms, but rather a series of patterns that overlay one another. Some of these colors, like these browns and blacks, are made from pigments like melanin, which we have in our skin. Pigments work by absorbing certain wavelengths of light and reflecting others. Your bright blue t-shirt absorbs all the wavelengths except the bluish ones, which are reflected back to your eyes. The scales of the butterfly can have some pigments in them, but so can the membranes underneath them. Here is Cyproetta stelenis. On the right, all of its scales have been removed from the wing. The remaining green is formed from a liquid pigment in the membrane that can stain a piece of paper if you touch it. But this is a bit unusual. Many of the brightest and most impressive colors on butterfly wings don't come from pigments or anything that would stain a piece of paper that touched them. Instead, the colors are made from the architecture of the scales themselves. If you zoom in, you can see that scales are made of these ridges, and the ridges can come in a number of different three-dimensional shapes. In some, there's a place for little pockets of pigment to hang out, but in others, there's no pigment at all. Instead, there are these structures called lamellae, which are just the right size and shape to take advantage of some of the strange properties of light. As light hits one of these, a certain amount is reflected back off the surface, and some light just passes right through. But depending on how thick these are, some wavelengths are reflected off the back surface. Now, these two sources of reflected light interact with each other, sometimes canceling each other out, but sometimes amplifying each other to create an intense color. Whatever light passed on through often hits another one of these lamellae, and then another, reflecting back even more of a certain wavelength.
Wow.
That's how this blue morpho, for example, gets such a vivid blue.
Yeah.
If you change the angle that the light hits these structures, the wavelengths interfere with each other differently. And that's why some butterflies shimmer and appear iridescent as they move. This is different from pigments, which reflect the same wavelength regardless of which way you look at them. Oh look, that one's laying babies. But often these butterfly colors are the combination of both pigments and the structural colors made by the lamellae. That blue morpho from before has a layer of black pigment underneath, which absorbs the light that passed through and wasn't reflected. But there's another species of morpho that has the reflective scales but not the black pigment, and the wings appear this bluish opal white. If you want to learn more about the physics of how butterfly wings get their color, or the computer or easy computer, been looking at officially learn about heat and their 30 days, visit brilliant.org/ZayFrank or click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription, and you'll be supporting a brand that helps make this show possible. Try Brilliant today. Where were we? Oh, right. Now, if you've got the ability to do all
That is
that with
crazy
color,
looking.
you know you're going to get creative. These tiny little patches of cells sometimes form on the wing, and they release proteins that cause the surrounding scales to create different sorts of pigments. This is how butterfly eye spots are formed. And I get it. You turn a corner and see one of these, you might shit your pants.
Looks like an
This
owl.
one, not so much, more of a sad vibe.
Yeah.
And come on, I mean, this one's just adorable. I don't want to run away, I want to get closer to it. And then, of course, there's too much of a good thing.
Whoa.
But why stop at just eyes? I mean, you could tattoo snake heads on your shoulders. Who's going to want to with you then? Now, if you're not feeling flamboyant, you can take a more subtle approach and blend into the background. Or be see-through. Sort of.
Wow.
I mean, come on, that looks just like a dead leaf.
It does.
Standing upright on a living leaf. But if a predator sees through your little disguise, you're not fucked yet. Some butterflies and moths that are drab or camouflaged have bright colors on the insides of their wings. So if they get found out, they can buy some time with a little razzle-dazzle. And that works. And the science hippies know because they with the chickens. Chicken thinks it's in for a nice meal and then nope. Reacts like a sane person would if they picked out a black licorice jelly bean. If you're one of those weirdos that likes them, I don't want to hear it. It's an abomination. Now, if all this doesn't work, and you're about to get a bite taken out of you, you still have some control over what part gets bit. Those long things on the back wings of the swallowtail, for example, seem to be effective at drawing an attack. And in fact, the veins on those back segments are weaker to allow for a piece to rip off a bit more easily. And that's not a bad result. Butterflies and moths can often fly just fine, missing a back wing or two. The back wings, it turns out, help more in dodging and weaving than they do with the actual flying. And that's why some of them look a bit ridden hard and put away wet. I'm bringing that phrase back. Now, moths that are active at night sometimes have these really long tails. In the dark, they can't really use colors and patterns to the same defensive effect, because the bats that hunt them use sound instead of vision to hunt. Sure. Having a really long tail can confuse the hell out of a bat, or at least get it to do minimal damage. But when you're getting hunted by something that uses sound, there's other tricks you can use to confuse the hunter. Some moths have scales that can absorb sound, making them invisible. Or inaudible? I don't know. But another way to go is make more sound. Most moths have exceptional hearing and can sense when a bat is closing in. And some use special structures that can create clicking sounds to jam the bat's sonar. Sometimes that involves scales on the moth's abdomen, or in this case, the genital valve.
I hate it.
You can try this at home.
I hate
There's
it.
a species of moth that lost its ability to hear, so it can't hear the bats coming. You know what it does? It uses part of its wing beat to make a sound, so it can make bat-confusing noise all the time. And so the bats try to catch things that don't exist. And that is how the lepidopterans do. Haven't done that for a while, have we, Jerry? Oh, and also, it's not floats like a butterfly, it stings when I pee, Jerry. It's a bee. No, the bee isn't peeing, Jerry. It's stinging. Do you understand? No, the bee isn't the reason it stings while... No, what do you mean, how did it get up there? No one's peeing, Jerry. Well, of course it would hurt you. That's beside the point. That's what the bee said. I don't get it.
I am Jerry. Jerry is me.
You feel a deep connection with Jerry?
Yeah. We both are afraid of butterflies. I mean, I'm not like really afraid of them.
Are you afraid of it stinging when you pee? Is that what you're afraid of?
No. I don't. No.
Are your stripes a defense mechanism from bats, Choo-Choo? His name is Sushi, but his baby name is Choo-Choo. And he is adorbs.
He's like, let me go.
He is his own man. He is, what, just barely a year old now?
Not
even?
Almost a year.
Almost a year old. Yeah. And he has gone from baby to this full-grown man that he is now.
I miss him being so little.
Yeah. But what about the noises that they were just talking about?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I'm just going to say this for the record. I hate insect noises.
They're annoying.
They irritate the shit out of me. And in our area, during the spring and summertime, they go ape shit.
It's rough.
It is crazy.
It's rough.
You cannot avoid just constant chirping and buzzing and screaming out. I'm trying to get laid.
Yeah.
Constantly out there.
The year that the locusts came.
Oh my God. You mean the cicadas?
Is that what they...
Yeah.
No.
Those little things that leave like their skeletons on
Locusts.
the trees and shit. They're cicadas.
Cicadas are green insects. Locusts, right? Locusts are the ones that's like... and then they have that ugly ass shell that leaves behind on the tree. And they got those big old bug eyes.
They're ugly. They're annoying.
I think
and they piss me off.
Locusts.
And... I mean, even at night time, you'll be trying to walk around at night, and it'll be annoying as shit.
I'm thinking of katydids.
But yeah, so when they started playing the moth noises and shit, I was just like,
I think that they're beautiful. I love their little fur, like the pink and the yellow moths. They're beautiful, and like I've seen that people like. I guess you like raise them.
Mm-hmm.
Like on TikTok, there were a couple of these girls who had them, and they would raise them in their house, and then they would let them go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's cool, but they freak me out.
I know Quinn loves them.
He
is obsessed with moths, but like
a lot of people really like moths.
Mothra tried to take down Godzilla. Mothra is an enemy of Godzilla, so it's an enemy of mine. I will fucking take one on. Come on, bitch. I don't give a fuck. I'll switch from southpaw to regular stance. I'll be there just to...
That's actually how I stand.
Southpaw?
Yeah.
I don't even need to see that demonstration. Nikki will have my teeth flying across the room. She'll be like, just let me show you. But, yeah, I'm not a fan, dude. I don't like them. And it's not... Look, when it comes to butterflies and moths, really, at the end of the day, I don't mind them that much, but I wish they would stop like coming after my car. And also, I don't know what it is, my grandmother always thought it was good luck whenever butterflies would land on you or something like that. I've had many times while I'll be at practice and playing sports or just outside, but they'll just be like in my face, like,
and they're just like, "Hey, I'm here, good luck," and you're like, "Oh my god."
No, they're not, because these little bastards, like, it didn't talk about on this video how fragile they are.
Yeah,
you try to get one off your shoulder, next thing you know, it's
like half
fucking
a
dead.
Broken wing.
And I'm like, dude, you're the one who fucking caused all this. Yeah. Like, not only that, but like, what are you doing running into shit knowing that you're made like a fucking thin piece of glass? Like, stop getting fucked up on purpose, you idiot.
Agreed.
Look, they annoy the shit out of me, just like Sushi does sometimes. But I'm glad that this video exists. I think Zafrank did a great job, and Jerry.
They didn't talk about anything blood-sucking.
See?
So, you know.
There you go. But thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you in the next reaction.
See you guys. Bye.